All right. Our last question this week is from Matthew on advice for a new clinician. Hello, Rob and Nicki. I've recently become a newly minted nurse practitioner and I'm starting a job at an endocrinology clinic in a few weeks where I will be managing mostly type 2 diabetes and thyroid disorders. First, thank you for your work. 8 years ago, you inspired my interest in fats, carbs, exercise, and all things hormonal, and it is very unlikely I would have landed here without your influence. My mom read the Paleo Solution after I mentioned your name and effectively reversed her type 2 diabetes through diet, exercise, and a sprinkle of metformin, which she has since discontinued. The clinic I'll be working in serves a population with low health and nutrition literacy that typically follow the standard American diet. As an example, one of my colleagues expressed that she would consider it a win if she could teach some of her patients that Mountain Dew is not actually considered juice. This is an extreme example, but you get the picture. I've been working as a bedside nurse for 6 years, so I'm well aware of the shortcomings of conventional medicine and the reluctance of patients to change long-held behaviors. One of the reasons I've been drawn to diabetes care is that diabetes 2 is so amenable to diet and lifestyle change that ideally the pharmacological approach need only play a supplemental and transient role. My question is this: what would you consider an effective strategy for fostering health literacy and behavior change in a population such as this? Also, what would you consider the lowest hanging fruit in terms of behavioral change to positively affect outcomes in diabetes? Thank you for your time, your work, and your example.
Well, one, I'm honored that we've had a role in someone entering this scene, and I think, Matthew, you're really on point. Like, that whole diabetic, peri-diabetic world is something that is really damaging, remarkably costly, and it's something that can be fixed if we can get out in front of it early enough. And I think one of the best examples that I have in this story is Dr. Mark Cucuzella, who works at a VA hospital in a rural environment, low socioeconomic status, low general education of the folks he works with, but I believe he has a one-sheet paper that he gives people, and there's like a green list of foods, a yellow list of foods, and a red list of foods. And he'll sit down with them and he'll say, hey, what on this green list do you like for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And they circle the stuff. And maybe Mark's got this thing available online. I'm sure he would share it with folks if he doesn't, but he'll go through the green list and then he's like, okay, the yellow list, you can have a few of those, and then the red list, I don't want you to have anything on it. And he just explains that typically the red list is loaded with carbs, and he covers things like chicken fried steak and all this stuff because it's like a southern rural kind of thing. And instead of chicken fried, and if people complain, they're like, hey man, steak and eggs, just don't batter it and roll it. So he keeps it super simple, and he's had remarkable success with people. And I think one of the things is he keeps it incredibly simple. He sits down and immediately makes it about the patient. What on this list works for you? What do you like? And that's just genius. It's so smart. And, even though folks may come from modest means and backgrounds, they're not dumb. And so, not everybody is going to change. Like, these behaviors are hard to change. There's deep-seated kind of patterns from social interaction and just habits and whatnot. But a lot of people are also like, yeah, I don't want to lose my leg the way that my dad did or something like that. And so the motivation can definitely be there, but it sounds like he just meets these people where they are. And you know what? Also, I'm kind of blanking on a piece of this. He's just incredibly accessible. Every single patient, he gives them his cell phone number. He's like, if you're in the store and you don't know what to buy, like you're in the snack aisle and you don't know what to do, you text me or you phone me and I will get you squared away. So he's super fucking accessible. And I think he's using a few health coaches now to kind of help augment that thing. But this is another piece of this. Like, there've been billions and billions of dollars dumped into apps trying to like Facebook or Twitterize health changes. And they've all failed. Like, it just doesn't fucking work. A well-run CrossFit gym, a good yoga studio or jiu-jitsu facility that talks to people about food and exercise also, that shit works because there's community and there's cohesion and there's a reason for being. So, him giving his cell phone number out isn't just information, it's the relationship. It's the fact he gives a shit enough to do that. And so he can talk the person off the ledge. And, like Tyler and Luis and their coaches with Keto Gains. This is why they're so fucking successful. And it's a reasonably high touch process. They're not just like farming them off and like, here's this super algorithmically driven thing. They've got pieces of that because there are consistencies within these different processes. But at the end of the day, they build a relationship and they're accessible and they do hard fucking work to help people change. And so, Matthew, it sounds like you're fully ready to do all that. Like you've already done all the major suffering around like just all the schooling and choosing to go into an area that is both potentially very rewarding, but also very frustrating. But, you know, you've got your eyes wide open on that. But I think adopting a very simple approach, like what Dr. Cucuzella has done, and then being very accessible. And I would noodle on earlier as opposed to later, integrating health coaches into the process so that you can, your primary role, in my opinion, should be the management of the, you know, onboarding and offboarding of medications. And you definitely should build relationship. But I think that where you can get a little bit of scale and increase reach and not go crazy in this process is leaning heavily on some type of health coach.
Okay.
Any other thoughts, wife?
No, that sounds good. Thanks everyone for your questions this week. As always, you can submit your questions at the contact page at robbwolf.com. What else?
This episode brought to you by Element. Stay salty.
Yep. We've got a new raspberry flavor coming.
Did you drop that it's the real flavor? I thought that was still going to be a surprise.
Oh, I think the cat's out of the bag.
Okay.
By the time this episode airs,
it should be.
It will probably be out of the bag. Hopefully.
It's better than the citrus salt one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's no joke better than that. So yeah, I'm excited for that too.
Yeah. So thanks everyone, and we'll see you next time.
See y'all soon. Take care.